Hey everybody! Thank y'all so much for joining me. I haven't been live in it's been some time, but I'm here now. I am Joy Bailey. I am the mortgage boss. I am a licensed mortgage loan officer located here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am licensed in over a dozen states to help people with purchasing homes, whether it's a first time home, if you're moving from one home into another home, if you're looking to get an investment property. I can assist you with that. I talk about the good, the bad, and ugly of home loans. You can follow me over on TikTok. It is the mortgage boss over there. I'm also on Instagram at the underscore mortgage underscore boss, BAWSE there as well. But lately I have been doing refinances, so I can also help assist you with any refinance needs that you may have, whether it's for cash out refinances to be able to consolidate debt, exploring an equity line of credit if you have ultra low rate and you have really good credit. I actually posted on my TikTok earlier today talking about the differences between an equity line of credit, a second mortgage, and or just doing a complete cash out refinance to consolidate all of your debt. And lately, thank God. Praise God, whom all blessings flow, because He has heard my cry. We are starting to actually be able to lower people's interest rates as well. So just doing regular refinances, or if you have a government loan, FHA streamlines or VA streamlines. So I think that's kind of the spiel on who I am and what I do. I just want to make sure for anybody that's out there, it looks like there are 6 people. Can y'all put a 1 in the chat? I just want to make sure that people can hear me. Y'all can hear me and you can hear me clearly if I'm audible enough, or if I need to turn my volume up or down. Can y'all please give me some advisement and some direction? That's great. Okay, Care Bears, you can hear me? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Where y'all at? Where y'all tuning in from? Thank you for joining me. What state are y'all in? And tell me, are you all purchasing homes? Are you a current home owner looking to try and figure out if you need to refinance? Like, what's going on with you? Ohio, Vietnam. Are you a veteran? You live in Fayetteville. Are you a veteran? California. Okay. Nice. You say you're not sure yet? You're not sure if you're going what? You're not sure what are you not sure of? Okay, Augusta, Georgia. Nice. Augusta's pretty affordable. I was looking at a loan application that I had for a pre-approval a little bit earlier today, and they were in the Augusta area, and the purchase prices were regular, like pre-pandemic regular numbers. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Durham. Okay. Bull City. And Missouri. Nice. You say you don't know if you want to buy it. Well, I understand that. You gotta, get educated, kind of evaluate what's going on in your life and figure out if it's something that's for you right now, or if it's something that will be for you in the near future, right? But the housing market is going to start picking up. So today I wanted to spend this time this evening. Oh, before I get into that, hang on, y'all. I got 10,000 subscribers. Subscribers, y'all. I had 10,000 subscribers about 3 weeks ago. I think it was like August the 3rd or something like that. So thank y'all for supporting me. I love y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate all of the support. I appreciate the likes, the comments. I appreciate if you have already subscribed. I appreciate the cash apps. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the recommendations, because sometimes y'all will refer somebody to me. Like, y'all are just absolutely just everything. Like, YouTube ain't easy. I don't know. I mean, I know people think it's just like, oh, well, like how hard can it be? Hard. I don't know. What's that? I don't know how I did it. I just did it. It was hard. It's hard because you really on YouTube, it's not like any other type of platform. YouTube is its own animal. And on YouTube, in my humble opinion, I feel like 10,000 is a lot because you have to really earn every single person. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, if you somebody watching this on the replay, thank you for watching my replays. It means absolutely everything to me because when I started this about 2 years ago, um, it was another content creator, Sir Ashley. He's a realtor here in the Charlotte area, and he had a channel, and I would go on his channel, and people would like me. And so I think when I started uploading, I uploaded some stuff that I'd had on IGTV, and I think like 47 of his subscribers came and they subscribed to my channel, and here we are. So I want to spend more time over here going live. Live is a lot easier in terms of like time because I like it because it's more interactive. I do a lot of lives on TikTok, but recording videos and stuff, it's just like you got to record it and edit it, and it takes time. So sometimes I just feel like I can't come up with topics to talk about on the live. Like, if I could, I would be over here a lot more. So I want to make it an effort, make it my business. At least I'm gonna set a goal in September, try and go live maybe once a week over here. But again, thank y'all so much. You don't have to watch, you don't have to spend time. Is the most invaluable thing, like most valuable thing. You can't get it back. And to choose to listen to me when you're in a car, or to choose to sit and watch me and interact and engage with me, you don't have to. And I sincerely appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you trust me. You trust my 10 years of experience, my high highs and my low lows, to help guide you in whatever it is that you are looking to do. So thank you very much. Let's see. Did you China Grove? I didn't put it on this one. If you go to my link tree, all of my contact information is there, Greg. I did change companies, but it should be the information from in the last 4 months. I'll say that because I lost track of time for a second. So, okay. So today's agenda. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about things that's been going on over the last 2 weeks specifically. Shout out to Vice President Kamala Harris. She is the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. And she has come out with a plan for the housing market. I wanted to chat a little bit about that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the NAR agreement, the settlement that they came to, and how it impacts you. The changes have now been implemented. I did a live back in, I think maybe April or May of 2023, when this first started to sound like it was going to be a thing. And now the changes have actually come to fruition. The changes officially began on August the 17th of 2024. So I want to talk a little bit about what that settlement means, how it's going to impact your bottom line when it comes to purchasing a home, because that agent compensation is going to directly impact you. And then, of course, I want to talk about the interest rates and what's happening with that. There was a rate cut announcement that was announced. Well, it was informally announced. Jerome Powell announced that he was going to announce a rate cut coming in September. So I just wanted to go over those things. Okay. And of course, again, if you got questions, I try to have answers. All right. So let's see. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I would love being a homeowner, but I should have started saving in grade school. I know, right? I definitely understand how you feel, but hopefully there's a little bit of a shift that will be coming, and hopefully it'll be a big shift if Kamala gets her way. You want to buy using your husband's VA loan? You definitely can. No money down. It's a great loan. Excellent loan. Okay. Is it possible to buy a house with no money down? Well, let's talk about it. So, Kamala Harris has announced what she would like to see happen with the housing market as a part of her um, pitch or her platform for presidency. This article was published last week, and it outlines what she sees as a possible solution to the housing crisis that we have. We are in a housing crisis, and I've been saying it for a couple of years now. And it was a housing crisis that started at the end of the Great Recession. Home builders haven't been building houses to keep up with the increasing population and the demand. And as a result, it's pushed prices up to a place that we would have never been able to imagine just 5 years ago. So let's talk a little bit about it. So she's wanting to come up with a plan to help with building more starter homes, giving some tax breaks to incentivize that for the builders. So her plan, she says, it says affordable housing is a cornerstone of the opportunity economy that Vice President Kamala Harris sketched out last week, which is true. I mean, it is the cornerstone of wealth in America. Recently, it's become really cool to talk about how you don't have to own a house to build wealth, or you don't have to live in a house. And that's just, you're not going to find anybody that is a millionaire that does not have real estate in their financial portfolio. It's just, it does not happen. And so it says that she had an economy pitch that included proposals to lower the cost of owning and renting homes in the United States. We should be making everything to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less, she said in her speech here in Raleigh, North Carolina. She called for construction of 3 million new housing units for both rent and for sale over the next 4 years. That would be huge. When they come out with these numbers, like I can't ever quantify them because I'm like, well, like, what does that mean? Like in 10 years, what does that mean? For rent and for sale, I don't know what that means, like half and half. I'm not really clear on that. But it's clear that she's thinking about people that aren't quite ready to purchase yet because the rents have skyrocketed as well. So I ain't mad at that at all. I can get with that. But 3 million housing units would be significantly helpful. I know the last thing that I saw, we were about 5 million units short of what's needed for the number of people that want to purchase homes. So we don't have a balanced housing market. It's not going to be a buyer's market unless we're able to flip it and there becomes, I guess, more housing units available versus the number of people that can buy them. And so right now it's the other way around. It's way too many people in the market and not enough houses to buy. And so this is something that I think will be significantly helpful. I love that because it's what I've been saying the whole time. We need houses. That's it. The supply and housing policies bipartisan sweet spot. So this is good because a lot of people don't realize when presidents come up with their plans, their pitch to America. Sometimes we can be really critical and say, "Oh, well, they lied. They said they was going to do A, B, and C, and they didn't do any of it." It can't just be done because they wave a magic wand and say, oh, this is what I'm doing. Like, that's not how our government works. The president can say, hey, these are the list of things that I want to do, but they can only achieve them if they get enough votes from the House and the Senate. So voting is critical when you're voting, not just for the president, but you need to make sure that there's enough House of Representatives that is on the side of whatever aisle you're on that's going to support your president, or to be unsupportive, I guess, of the president, if that's not the agenda that you wish to see America achieve. Same thing for the Senate. So I'm glad to know that everybody's concerned about the housing supply, because ain't nobody cared. And I've been saying this. I'm like, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it on the federal level, the state level, or the local level. It's just kind of like okay, well, houses are getting sold, so no big deal. And they've allowed it to go, in my opinion, they've allowed this to go for way too long without trying to corral it. This is something that they should have been talking about 3 years ago, if I'll be honest. That's my opinion. But yeah, apparently it's the bipartisan sweet spot around housing affordability challenges. And they want to have increasing housing supply. That's good. Ever since the foreclosure crisis, the major period of property seizures in the United States between 2007 and 2010, there have been far fewer new single family homes and multifamily rental buildings under construction. And that's what I alluded to a little bit earlier. We just don't have enough. They haven't bothered to build, because they were a little fearful that if they built too much, they would lose their shirt again. But I think they've more than made up for that by now. So let's see. There is a more acute shortfall when it comes to affordable homes. Like, there's plenty of houses that are out there that people just can't buy because they can't afford them. So she wants to get 3 million new units, and also wants to have a tax incentive for home builders so they can start with building at a lesser price point to increase the supply of quote unquote starter homes. Now, back in April, Joe Biden had his own proposal that it went clearly nowhere fast. His was very similar to this, except he was talking about a $25,000 tax credit. Part of her plan is to have a $25,000 down payment assistance for first generation, first time home buyers. Now, on TikTok, a lot of people have been in the comments, because I was talking about her a few times last week during the DNC. And people were in the comments and they were like, that's for immigrants. Immigrants. Okay, hang on, like, relax. First generation does not necessarily mean immigrants. There are a lot of people, they mama never owned a house, or they dad never owned a house, and they just black as I am. And fun fact, y'all know white people, they experience the same economic statuses that we do. There's subsets: poor, rich, middle class. Okay. So it doesn't mean that. But the problem with his plan was kind of like, if it's only for first generation, first time home buyers, how you know? How you gonna know that my mama didn't own a house? Like, what? I don't like. Would that be part of the application? It just never made sense to me. But she's wanting to not give away, but have a plan for down payment assistance of $25,000. Now, this is my 2 cents on this, and I'll quickly move on. Thing number one, if they can't solve for the number of units that are available, this is a waste of time. There's no need to flood the housing market with more buyers. More buyers is the last thing that we need. Period. That's all I got to say about that. We don't need no more buyers. We have more than what we need. We need houses. And so according to this, they're prepared to address that need. So I love it. It says here that it's hard to define what a starter home is. I thought the same thing. So if they're going to incentivize builders with tax cuts and money to help lower labor costs and land costs and the borrowing costs for builders and material costs, if they're going to do that, which is wonderful, fine. I mean, like I'm on board. I can't wait because that's literally the only solution. If they're going to do that, be mindful that there's already down payment assistance programs that are out there. There's already down payment assistance programs that are out there that have 20, 30, 40, $50,000. This is not opening the floodgates. And I think, again, I try to speak responsibly. I don't try to give like false hope. There is a right way to buy a house, and a right way to buy a house is you got to have money. You can get $25,000 all day long, but if all of the houses in your area are $400,000 and you make $50,000, you can't have it. You can't have a house because you can't afford the payment. So, I think we have to like take a step back and break down what the actual requirements would need to be to fulfill this, to be able to have access to this money. Typically, down payment assistance programs all work the same. They they all work the same. They're gonna either have some sort of income limit restriction, purchase price limit or restriction. The credit is gonna be required to be a higher credit score. So where people are like, "Oh, what do I do to get a 580?" They probably not talking to you when they start talking about numbers like this. I would encourage you to have credit scores, in the mid 600s, just to be prepared. But really, again, it's only one way to be prepared to purchase a home. Literally, anything outside of that is considered an exception to the rule. Down payment assistance is not an entitlement, and it is not a rule. And people seem to want it to be the rule, and they're like striving for it. And then they can't figure out like, well, why I can't buy a house? Because you're not following the rule. You trying to create a pathway. It's resistance. You're gonna meet resistance. You need to have roughly 6 or 7% of the purchase price to be able to go through the entire transaction. Also, I remember when Joe Biden had his version of this, I remember reading his definition of a starter home was less than the median price in the area. So like here in Charlotte, I don't know if this is still true or not, but I'm gonna just say, let's say that number is 350. So then that means that a starter home would be like 300, which is still a lot for a starter home, in my opinion, particularly in the South. But here they're like, well, what does that mean for what state? Like, what's a starter home? It might be $700,000 in California. It might only be 250 in the South, which is true. So I would like to know what that number is, because there are some people, they only can afford 175. So what does that mean? Are we going to start building at those price points? Now, I don't think that it will be rational to think that they're going to start building at $90,000 like they did 20 or 30 years ago, because I mean, everything just becomes more expensive. That doesn't make sense. But I feel like a healthy starter number, in my opinion, would be like 175 or 200. I think that's realistic for 2024. So then she also has a $40 billion innovation fund. I don't know where this money coming from, but I like it. I have no idea. They never say where the money's coming from, but I mean, we trillions of dollars in debt. So hey, why not add to it so everybody can get some help? But yeah, so they're gonna have that to help continue to solve that problem again with the housing market. So that's everything with her plan. The proposals, it stems from the idea the Biden-Harris administration presented earlier this year to implement $25,000 in down payment assistance exclusively for 400,000 first-generation buyers or first-time home buyers whose parents weren't homeowners, and a $10,000 tax credit. So, I mean, that was the initial plan. This has a little bit of a spin on it. I like the spend personally. Oh yeah, you also have to make sure you paid your rent on time for 2 years. That's important. That's very important. Because I mean, even with a regular loan, we look at that too. So, um, but yeah. So, what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think that that's a good idea? It's a good plan? How we feeling about this? So, to answer your question, is it possible to buy a house with no money down? It's possible. Is that is is that the plan you should shoot for? No, it's not. Where you say you at? You in Ohio? Hold on, let me go back. Where you say you? Where are you? You in Ohio. Okay, yeah. So Ohio is different. So I kind of take that back a little bit. Ohio is significantly more affordable. Ohio is significantly more affordable than North Carolina is in terms of housing. So for you, yeah, I think it's possible because you don't have to overcome the gap. We have a gap here. Our gap is the income that you need. So you can get the down payment assistance money, right? So let's say in Ohio, let's say you can buy a house for $215,000. Okay, you can get, let's say you can get a 4-bedroom house for $215,000. I have no idea. I'm completely making this up, but that sounds reasonable. Okay, the people in Ohio's income probably goes along with 215. Okay, translate that to North Carolina. In most larger cities here in North Carolina. That ain't gonna happen. Cause like there, you could use that money down payment and closing costs and you're good. Here, not so much. The income that you would need to get to the 400,000 purchase price or the $300,000 purchase price is gonna probably be a lot higher than what the requirement or the maximum income limit is gonna be for this plan. I don't know what it's going to be. And just so you all understand where I'm seated, I'm a mortgage loan officer and I have an accredited mortgage professional designation. I've sat in classes and I've learned about product development and I've learned about risk. I know how these things go. No one in the government, no one in the private sector is just going to open up the windows and just let money just fall out and it not have some sort of parameters around it. The goal is not to get everybody into a house without money. It's just not. So the number of people that would probably qualify would be minimal on purpose. It's going to be minimal on purpose because it's not meant for everybody. Side note, can y'all please tell me why people don't be wanting to do Habitat for Humanity anymore? What's up? Why nobody ask about Habitat for Humanity? I literally, hey, people ask me about NACA, people ask me about everything, but why don't ask about Habitat for Humanity? Is that not cool anymore? I don't get it. Literally no one ever asked, but I was just curious. I thought about that earlier today. One of my students, I used to teach, one of my students, she got a house, brand new house. I think it was a true home, brand new house. It was Habitat, beautiful house for her children. How is the Mint Hill housing market? Expensive. That Matthews Mint Hill area it's expensive. Charlotte, like inside of Charlotte, is expensive, and the outskirts of Charlotte is expensive. So, Weddington, Mint Hill, Matthews, Fort Mill. What am I missing? Concord is okay. It's not really super expensive. I mean, it's like on par, but I wouldn't say it's expensive. It's more expensive than it used to be. But yeah, Mint Hill, it's expensive. Monroe is climbing. We need more houses where I live. They've been building a bunch of apartments. They even brought up old raggedy houses in the hood and flipped them for bigger money. And there's some tax incentives. So one part of Kamala's plan that I did not talk about because I didn't really think it was relevant, but you do bring it up actually, is to attack Wall Street, because they're going out and they're buying like the block of houses. So she wants to dissuade them. So she wants to have some sort of a punitive not damage, but some sort of punitive consequence for them so they don't go out and buy up the block. So I'm sure that'll come in the form of some sort of tax reduction. Let me see, not reduction, but some sort of tax increase if they're doing that. It won't allow them to continue to get tax incentives if that's what their planning is, going out and, buying 20, 30 houses at a time or even in a year. So that's something that's coming. A lot of people think that that'll help. I don't really know. I can't hold you. I don't really know. Because the way I feel about the build to own, I mean, not build, what they call? Build to rent communities. I always think about it like, you wasn't gonna buy it. You wasn't gonna buy it. Like if the build and rent community, if they build a 4-bedroom, 2,200 square foot house, and to buy the 4-bedroom, 2,200 square foot house, it was gonna be $3,000 a month for a mortgage payment. Even if it's $3,000 in rent, you like, oh, that's too high. You wasn't gonna buy the house. I don't get it. I don't understand that. Like you still not gonna buy it. So I don't really see a big problem with the build and rent communities personally. But there's also a incentive that Kamala has to go along with this. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's always a good idea when you campaigning, but then when stuff needs to get implemented, it's like, okay, where's the money coming from? And then you got to fight about that. So who knows? You're welcome. I purchased outside of Houston for $275 in 2022. And what's your house worth today? 400. I'm willing to bet 400. Your equity probably already looking right. I want to know how much do you think that the value is right now? Patty. Hey Kayla. Yeah, that equity, yeah, it's gonna be great in 5 years. As interest rates come down, property values are gonna go up. So that goes back to when all of the people were saying, hey, I know the interest rates are high now, but buy the house now, marry the house, date the rate. That's why they were saying that. They're like, if you can afford the payment, get the house now so that you ain't got to be rolling around in the mud later on when people come into the market because interest rates are in the fives. As interest rates go into the fives, Patty is going to be able to say, hey, I want more. We have an appraiser. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to bet in the last couple of years. You got a good amount, I'm sure. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So, and it'll continue to increase. It'll continue to go up for sure. But one of the things that's happening right now in the market, outside of all of Kamala's plans and everything, is that these interest rates have announced that they want to cut the interest rate. So where's my article for that? And it's not really too much to say about that, but I do want y'all to be aware. So Jerome Powell is the Fed chair. And for people that don't understand, it's really important to understand how the government structures our money. A lot of people think that it's Joe Biden's fault interest rates are up. Joe Biden does not set interest rates. He has nothing to do with that whatsoever at all. Period. Trump, period. They do not have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Okay. The Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, they meet, they evaluate what's going on in the economy. They evaluate if it's too hot or if it's too cold, and they make adjustments accordingly. Apparently, the word on the street is, he says, the Fed chair, who is the one that we know because he's the chair and so he speaks more often. He's like, yo, the time has come to cut these rates. These rates is high. People are broke. And he really wasn't too worried about y'all being broke per se. But what happened was he got into a little situation where they found out that, I can't remember what month, but a jobs report came out and it was 800,000 jobs wrong. So really the economy has been slowing down a lot longer than he acknowledged, even though we out here kicking and screaming, even though people are like, because now I can only defend the data. I can't go against what the data says. So when people are, and I think I actually may have done a live and somebody was like, no, people out here, they losing their jobs. These tech people, they getting laid off. Yeah, I see it. But apparently maybe they're not filing unemployment. I don't know, because according to this, they're saying it's good. Well, they were lying. They've lied. It's been wrong. And so now he's like, okay, the inflation is coming down. His target for inflation is 2%. They measure that by a basket of goods, the cost for a basket of goods year over year. So last August, did bread cost about the same as it cost this August? Last August, did a battery for your car cost about the same as this August? Right? Well, a couple of years ago, it was 10-20% year over year growth in how much stuff cost. Things was just skyrocketing, right? Well, he said, well, we got to slow things down. There's too many people out here spending up too much money. And as a result, they're putting an increasing the pressure on the supply. We got to do something about it. So they had to ease the pressure from the supply by lowering the demand, by making things cost more money. That's what interest rates do. Not just your credit cards, but usually jobs. They have to borrow money to help make payroll every Friday. If it costs them a lot of money, okay, let's say I got a cell phone, okay, and I got 8 people in my cell phone store. I have to borrow money every week to get them paid on Friday. I don't know, right? Well, I have to pay that money back, right? I'm paying that money back with revenues that I'm generating from all the people that's coming to buy these cell phones and these cell phone cases and these cell phone screens. But what if the interest rates are so high, people can't afford a new cell phone? Or they like, well, I can work around my broken cell phone screen. Or they like, well, it'll be cheaper if I go to, Amazon to get a phone case. So they don't come into my store to get the things because it costs so much. They struggling. They got credit card bills. They don't have as much money to give to me, right? And so interest rates impact everything. And so now I'm forced as a cell phone store owner with 8 employees. Sales are down. I'm borrowing this money. I can't, to make payroll. I can't do this. I gotta let somebody go. All right. That's how interest rates impact everybody. It's not just your credit card bills. It's not just the auto loans or the housing mortgage rates. It's literally everything. America is built on a system of borrowing. I ain't make the news. I'm just reporting it. Okay. So anyway, he wants the inflation numbers to come down to 2%. Some people are saying that that's an antiquated model. It probably won't be 2%, but it's below 3. He's like, okay, cool. When the numbers came out, things kind of seized up. I don't know if y'all remember a couple of weeks ago. I think it might have been like a Thursday or a Friday. The stock market lost like 1,000 points in one day. Actually, I think it happened like 2 days back to back. And that was his signal like, oh shit, I think I messed up. I think I waited too late. I got to stop playing with these people. And so now he's like, all right, inflation has declined significantly. The labor market is no longer overheated. The conditions are now less tight than prevailed before the pandemic. Supply constraints have normalized, and the balance of the risk of our two mandates and the balance of the risk to our two mandates have changed. Y'all, let me explain this. Let me make sure that we are on the same page, because not to be political, but I feel like I'm using my platform to make sure that people completely understand what has happened and how we got to where we are. Joe Biden did not raise gas prices. People are like, oh, well, when Trump was the president, gas was lower. When interest rates was lower. Y'all, short version, the COVID started all of this. The slow response to COVID. Bill Clinton, God. Joe Biden was not the president. Joe Biden did not become president until 2021. In 2019, COVID was a thing. It existed. In December of 2019, in January of 2020, in February of 2020, COVID, they talked about it. When Kobe Bryant died in January, they talked about it on the news. It was a thing. In February of 2020, they was like, oh man, this look like it's really a thing. Everybody was talking about it except the president. It was a joke. It was nothing to see here. Y'all going about your day. It wasn't until March when the NBA commissioner had one of his players test positive for COVID, and they were getting ready to play a game. And he came out and was like, thanks for coming out. God bless and good night, and sent the people on their merry way. He was like, not on my watch. We're not playing those type of games. We're not doing that. That literally means it was like a 90-day time period of absolutely nothing being done. It was being dismissed. It was no big deal. Joe Biden didn't do that. In March of 2020, Jerome Powell, this guy here that I told you, he decides, hey, is the market too hot or too cold? When they started sending people home, I want y'all to get focused. The only reason why all of a sudden it was panic in the streets, 911 emergency, was because the NBA pulled the plug. That made everybody sit up straight. The NCAA had already said, yeah, we're going to do March Madness, but people can't be in the crowd. What? And it was only then that the president at the time, Donald Trump, was like, oh, shit, I think I should say something. He wasn't the adult in the room. This guy right here, Jerome Powell, was like, oh, shit, we got to do something. Everybody at home, these people losing their jobs. Oh, shoot, if they don't have jobs, how they going to pay the mortgage? Oh, man, he had to respond. It was an emergency. He took the rates to zero in an emergency. That's why when people are like, them rates ain't never coming back in, it was an emergency response to a worldwide catastrophe. And the rate stayed low while everything could stabilize. Well, in the midst of that, this guy, they printing money. We're printing money. Congress, they like, hey, don't worry about it. We'll worry about it later. Kick the can down the road. Go print some more money. We got checks. We got stimulus checks. They said, don't worry about making your mortgage payments. Interest rates are at the lowest that they've been. Probably like, oh, I can go buy a car. I can buy a house. I can buy everything. Living your best life. They had emergency money available for unemployment. All of these things are stacked on top of each other. So people are like, oh, my life was great. My life was wonderful under Donald Trump. It was a fake life, y'all. It wasn't real. We were living in an alternate universe. It literally, I don't know how else to say it. It wasn't real. It was completely manufactured by this guy right here. This guy, he helped to manufacture it because it was an emergency. And he had to save America's economy. But since then, he's like, whoa, hold on. It was too many people out here buying up too much stuff. So we need to raise the rates again. What's going on? We got to get them up, and get them up fast. We got to slow some stuff down. And so now, here we are. It sounds like we may have finally made it through. After hitting a peak, what is this, 9% of, look at this, inflation was 9% in June of 2022. It is now down to 2.9%. Now, please be mindful that some stuff is not included in that. And Kamala has, and again, not to make it political, but I just want to point it out because I was talking about it earlier. Kamala has announced, she was like, y'all grocers, I hope y'all enjoyed y'all good time because y'all been gouging people. Why are y'all gouging people? How the hell is oatmeal, I'm making this up sort of kind of, but not really, $9 at Publix, $7 at Harris Teeter, and $4 at Walmart? I'm very confused. That doesn't even make sense. Somebody lying. These grocers have been gouging the public for the last couple of years. That don't help you save money to buy a house. It doesn't help you be able to do anything. You get behind your credit cards. Now you got to swipe your credit card because you got to feed your kids. So again, oh, but gas was low. My gas was cheap. You know why gas was cheap, y'all? You want to know why gas was cheap? Because you didn't have a fucking job to drive to. That's why. Why are you filling up gas? Why are you filling up your car with gas to go to a job that you don't have? It doesn't make sense, right? And people are misremembering all of the things that happen. That's all I'm just telling you. Okay. Just in case you didn't remember. Now you know. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Joe Biden had nothing to do with this. Everything that happened, it's like a pendulum. It swings one way, it has to swing back the other way. It takes a long time to turn the Titanic, y'all. What happens this year is not going to show up for the residual effects ain't going to show up for a couple of years. That's just how it goes. These are the impacts of what happened a couple of years ago. That's just what it is. So hopefully with the interest rates, the Fed is going to meet on September the 17th. I think they've kind of already priced the cuts in because we've already seen lower interest rates in my sector. Um, I'm starting to be able to do streamline refinances. So if you have a government loan like FHA, VA loans, and your interest rate is over 7%, now might be your time to shine. Okay, the streamline refinance doesn't require you to have a credit score, doesn't require anything of you, no income, doesn't require an appraisal. It only requires that you made your payments on time since you've had the loan, which is probably, again, it's a short window of time because the interest rates was a lot lower. October was the peak of interest rates, October 23. So if you bought your house in 2022, I'm probably not talking to you. But if you bought your house in, 23 and your interest rate is over 7%, it's your time to shine. I'm licensed in multiple states. How can I be of service to you? I saved a lady $300 last week. Well, not maybe 2 weeks ago now. She bought her house October the 31st of 2023. It's time. So this is good. As interest rates come down, people will be able to get into a more comfortable mortgage payment. And hopefully, hopefully things haven't gotten too out of control to where they have been skipping payments or they've been modifying loans. Because if you had a modification and you got to get out of the modification, let me rephrase, not get out of, you have to complete it. So let's say you skip 3 payments. Okay, so now you got to be done with your skip payments and you have to make 3 payments in a row before you be eligible. Which that's a substantial improvement over what it used to be back in the day. Back in the day, you had to sit on the sideline for a minute. So that's going to be huge. Also, if you're in the market to purchase a home, these rate cuts are going to help you with how much you qualify for. I've been able to refresh the letters that I sent out to people. I had a lady, I pre-approved her in, I think her letter said like May 2nd. And I refreshed her letter last week and she had a $60,000 improvement to her purchase price. Now, that a couple of reasons. One, she had a come to Jesus moment with herself and she realized that she wasn't going to be able to buy no house for $170,000. It was a struggle, right? And then the other thing is the interest rate came down pretty significantly. So she's still going to be within the range that she's comfortable with. I mean, y'all, I could tell y'all stories for days about some of the challenges that I've seen people have as a result of these interest rates. It's ugly. And that was the intention. That's the way the economy works. It has to be broken so they can fix it. And he broke it. And by he, I mean Jerome Powell. He had to break it so it could be fixed. They're saying that we're not going to have a recession. Whatever, child. I don't know. I don't know about y'all. I'm in my own personal recession. I don't know. I don't know about y'all, but so that's what it is. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. So whether we have a recession or not, which I think we probably will or are in, because they lying, they be lying, man. I tell y'all, they lie to me, so I just lie to y'all. I don't know. We just passing lies around. I don't know. But recession or not, they claim we're gonna have a soft landing. These new job numbers with them making the mistake that they made, it gives me a lot of pause to believe anything else out here. But yeah, just check in, see if you can, refresh your pre-approval letter to try to afford more money or try to afford more house. So let me see. That's the thing with the interest rate. So hopefully they'll be down. People are going to be able to refinance. People that got equity lines of credit, they can consolidate those two together, the equity line of credit in with the regular house. So there'll be some opportunities for people that are in real estate for sure. Hey, 30 people, how y'all doing? Let me just kind of reintroduce myself. Hey, everybody, I'm Joy Bailey. I am a licensed mortgage loan officer here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been a mortgage loan officer for 10 years. I also have an accredited mortgage professional designation. I talk about the good and bad and ugly of home loans. I'm on TikTok as the mortgage boss. Spend a lot of time on TikTok. TikTok is a time. I don't know, whatever. But I'm also on Instagram as well. You can follow me over there at the_mortgage_boss, BAWSE. Do you see a crash or a correction coming to the market anytime soon? No. There is never going to be a crash. There was never a making for a crash. There was never a making for a crash. We are still, we're at pre-pandemic levels in foreclosures. I have somebody that I'm going to bring on and do a live to talk about all of the different options that are available to people that are struggling to make a mortgage payment. They don't want your house. Literally, now I'm going to tell you, now this is disheartening. And I would love to be able to say I didn't see this coming. I have talked to, in the last 2 weeks, I have talked to 3 or 4 people that wanted to do a refinance to get a lower rate. And they couldn't because they bought in October, November, December in that ballpark. And they missed mortgage payments. As soon as they got in there, one of them was like, oh, my husband lost his job. Okay. So now the way that her modification is set up, I want to say she's going, what's she doing? She going to roll 3 months of payments into the next 12. No, that's not right. Into the next 6 months, something like that. And the lady told me when she was ready to purchase a home, she said, Joy, when I was ready to buy my house, I was hoping my payment, I started out with my payment goal being $1,600. Now my payment is at $2,900. And now because of the modification and they're going to roll these missed payments in, her payment is going to be $3,600 a month until she completes that plan. Her husband is back to work now, but y'all, I had another lady. She told me a story very similar, but she had 2 full-time jobs. She closed and immediately later that day, she lost one of her 2 jobs. Now, I don't know who told on me. Side note, I don't know who over there on the TikTok told on me, but I don't appreciate it. Okay. When I say stuff, don't be running telling people what I'm talking about. Got Anton Daniels over there talking about me. Had some other dude, I don't remember his name. Y'all got me over here on the YouTube. I ain't even over here on YouTube. I'm over there minding my business and I'm getting tagged. People sending me stuff because these men talking about me. Quit telling on me. All I said was, women are buying houses more than men are. And I said they doing what it takes. They're sacrificing. They working multiple jobs to get it done. Y'all done told on me. Got the men over here on the YouTube, like, mm, they so independent. Oh God, y'all. Can't believe I need to know I want names. I asked the other day, I was like, why black men hate Kamala Harris? Good God Almighty. That was the one that got Anton Daniels. If y'all know Anton, shout out to Anton. Anton Daniels is a YouTuber. He has male centric content, and I didn't say nothing crazy. I just was like, why black men hate Kamala Harris? Like, what? I wanted to know. I had a question. I wanted to understand. Now, what the saying say? Seek first to understand, then be understood. I'll try to understand. That's all. I wanted to know. Why y'all act like that lady got child support orders on you or something? I don't understand. I wanted to know. But somebody over there done went and told on me. Because I know he didn't find me on his own. Tattletale. Oh man. But no, there's not a crash coming. There's no makings of a crash. There's no reason for a crash to come. Yeah, exactly. That part. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. That part. There's nothing that can bring the housing market. I mean, yeah, you're right. The math of it. You're absolutely right. There's nothing that's gonna happen. The system just isn't set up for that. The system is not set up to allow the housing market to fail because the housing market is connected to so many other things. It's connected to pensions, life insurance. It's connected. The stuff that you don't see. It's a lot of things that you don't see. And if the housing market fails, the economy fails. And they ain't having that. Which is why Jerome Powell lowered the interest rates the way that he did during that time period to help keep the economy moving. To make sure that, hey, don't worry about making no mortgage payment. You good. Imagine having, $1,300 a month of money. Just what? You living like you in college again. You know? Food was cheap. You home. You ain't got to drive nowhere. You could DoorDash everything. It's just, what a time to be alive. But it was a fake time. It wasn't ever real. Thank you. I need to get my hair done. I'm going to get my hair cut. I got to take these braids out. I ain't had braids this long in my whole life. It's been like 2 months, I think now. I got to get these braids on my head. Say it loud for the people in the back. I don't know what I said, but I'm glad you liked it. Inflation. Okay, let's see. Listen, inflation is put on the customer. Yeah, consumer always. Yeah, it is. That's why stocks do well. Yes, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. You remember what you remember? What you remember? When everything went down, house prices jumped $6,000 a month. Yeah. The buyer never wins. Loans are worth more than the homes now. $500,000 home paid off over $1 million. Well, I mean, the same thing. Okay, so fun fact. Let's talk about that. Do you have credit card debt? Neophyte. Do you have credit card debt? Do you have an auto loan? Because that's just how interest works. Especially with credit card debt. My favorite thing to say, and I wish I could take credit for this, but I can't. My favorite thing to say is y'all don't care about interest rates. If you did, you wouldn't have no credit card debt. People only like to act like they care about interest rates because somebody told you that you're supposed to care about interest rates when it comes to houses. That's the only reason why y'all care. Y'all don't care about no dang on interest rates. You really don't. Um, I did some math today. If somebody had a 66, I did a loan. I was working. Well, I didn't do a loan. I was talking to somebody about getting a loan to consolidate some credit card debt. $66,000 a credit card debt, and at 29% interest on a credit card, it would take 513 months to pay that off at the minimum payments. The minimum payments was like $2,200 a month. That's $104,000 in interest. 513 months, that's over 40 years. You don't care about interest rates. Them them groceries been ate a long time ago. That trip that you went on, are those people still alive that you went on that trip with? Like, you know what I mean? You don't even wear them pants no more that you bought on the credit cards. You can't fit them no more. Y'all don't care about interest rates. You just don't. And it's just the truth. That's why a lot of OGs in real estate were like, y'all tripping. Like, rates been higher than this. The problem was rates were 8% with $400,000 purchase price or a loan amount. That was the problem. If we said rates was 8% and you could go and get a house for $175,000, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, okay, no problem. You don't care about rates. You do not. Oh, that's what's up. Congratulations. When are you supposed to close? When you gonna close? The recession's been, I swear it has. I swear. 6.75 rate, the mortgage is affordable for you. Yes. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, if it's affordable, which that was the whole thing. Like, there were people that were being forced into buying, because the lady I was just telling y'all about that said that when she started, she was looking to have a $1,600 payment, and now she's way past that. And she said that her realtor turned to her and was like, if you don't buy this house, you're not buying a house. So she did. It was already an uncomfortable payment for her. I'm telling you, every time I talk to somebody and I introduce the idea, hey, you can do a refinance, you can streamline, you got a government loan, let me see. I'll literally say, hey, how much money would you like to save? What do you feel would make a difference for you? Because I remember during COVID, when I would talk to people in California and I would like, oh, you can save $300 a month. They would laugh at me. They like, okay, what I'm doing with it? I'm like, you don't think $300 is a lot of money? No. Oh, okay, great. So now I learned, I got to ask, how much money would you? And so these people are literally like, girl, I don't care, $75. It don't matter, anything. And that's a signal that that's a house that they probably shouldn't have been in to begin with. And I hate that. And I watched it happen. I watched it happen over and over. But, you know, numbers are manipulated. Like this other lady, numbers was manipulated. She got new construction last year. When I looked at her mortgage statement and I saw her escrow balance, I was like, this math ain't mathing. I did the math real quick. She getting ready to refinance and she gonna save some money, but she really not getting ready to save no money. She gonna save money for a few months and then she gonna get hit with tax bills too. She gonna get hit because she gonna owe her mortgage company for this year in real taxes, like not real, in property taxes that was underestimated, and then the taxes moving forward is gonna be wrecked. So she gonna get hit with 2 years worth of taxes on a $400,000 house. But you got in the house. You got in the house. Whatever it takes, right? And so But yeah, I 6.75, that's not bad. You can't wait to walk in with, oh, that's good. I'm excited for you. It's an exciting thing, especially like when you're building and you see it, coming up. I remember coming over here. I used to live maybe about 25 minutes away, and I would drive across town just to look at the dirt. And they weren't doing that. They moved dirt from one side to the other side. I was like, ooh, it was very exciting. 30%. That's about right. Yeah, 30%. That's a comfortable payment. Yeah. Yes. Oh, so I was on TikTok and there was a little bit of an argument. Someone had commented, well, no, it was me. I started it. Um, I did a TikTok um commenting on another person's TikTok, where the lady was talking about there was a home that was $1,600 a month that was being rented, and she was kind of lamenting about all of the requirements that they needed for someone to be able to rent the house. One of the requirements was a 670 FICO score. But the requirement that like, and when you added up like all of the fees, they needed like 2 months worth of payments up front. One of the other elements was, oh, they wanted you to earn 3.5 times the rent as your income. And she was like, when they start that, because it's been 2 times the rent. I don't understand. And I commented like on my TikTok. And I was like, it's always been 3.5 times the rent. What are you talking about? So people in the comments, they tussling because they like, it's always been 2 times. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all know how silly y'all sound? Fighting about wanting to spend half your income on rent? That's stupid. That's not even logical. And I'm not talking about you moving into the apartment, it was affordable and the rent kept going up. I'm talking about you wanting to willingly raise your hand to go into an apartment where the apartment rent is going to be 50% of your income. You sound like a fool. There is no budget calculator out there that would support that because it's an unhealthy amount. So yeah, she's like 30%. That's normal. That's a healthy amount. But the idea to be like, and they say it proudly too. They like, my rent is half. Don't tell nobody else that. What? On purpose? We have to have these things in place because people are bad decision makers, y'all. People don't know. They don't know any better. And so they have to put guardrails in place to help people with their decision making. And it's kind of a funny thing because people will be like, I ain't buying no house because I don't want to be house poor, but you want to be apartment poor? What are you talking about? People don't even make 3 times the rent, 1,600. So 16 times 3, I don't even know whatever that number is. But I'm like, yeah, I don't disagree that apartments are expensive. Like, that's not lost on me. I wholeheartedly think like bring back $800 a month rent. But to willfully want to argue about it should be 2 times the rent, that is stupid at best. Yes, weekly lives, watching a recap. We need more of you and your knowledge. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I'll be running out of stuff to talk about. I'm doing 3 topics. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to, because it was a busy week, but I don't know. I feel like it's boring. Hedge funds want your home now. If a crash happen, you'll you'll be put to the side due to them buying with cash. Nobody's using 70% of their income to buy a house. We won't approve anything like that. But to your point, we will push it as much as possible. Whatever it takes. If y'all like it, I love it. So you're not, 70%, we ain't gonna prove that. But like you ain't all the way crazy with your comment. Like, yeah. California is a different beast. Mm-hmm. The sad part is I live in Bay Area, houses over $2 million. I don't even know why. Sorry to say, it seems that Asians are the only ones buying in my area and don't understand how. So first of all, let's talk about it. I'll tell you. You want to know? You want to know? You really want to know? So statistically, despite myths and hate comments that people have, white people don't make the most money, y'all. That's a fallacy. White people do not make the most money. Asians do. So yes, they can do it because they're strategic with the careers that they choose. They go into high earning careers on purpose. It don't be by accident. They don't be like, oh, I want to be a teacher. They'll probably get put out the family if somebody says something stupid like that. They be like, oh no, you can't. Don't come back. You have disgraced the family name. But it's true. It's the truth. Everything is by design. Everything is by choice. Everything is a decision. What's happening now is a result of the decisions that you made prior to today. Right? Good or bad. So when I hear people that's like, I'll never be able to get a house. And then my response is, maybe you should change industries. Maybe you should change careers. I'm the bitch. What? It's the truth. I don't get it. What you mean? What's wrong with it? If we say $51,000 ain't gonna cut it no more, then you should receive that and be like, okay, she said that 51,000 ain't it. And in today's market, to buy the average price, I need to make 100,000. Okay, let me go to Google, LinkedIn. It ain't rocket science, y'all. People making it harder than it has to be. These are intentional decisions. So you are 100% accurate. And that you're not being racist. That's not a stereotype. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging this. This is true. What? What is going on? What are you even talking about? What is happening right now? Okay. Oh, you don't have a car loan that's 10 years old. Okay. All right. It's also the insurance. With all these natural disasters, even if homes become affordable, property tax and the insurance will it ever be affordable again? Average homeowners in Florida, $7,800. Probably not. And the only reason why I say that is because I knew back in 20, 2017, that insurance was gonna become an issue, and mortgage insurance would be an issue because it's hard to underwrite a house that might not be there in 6 months. These violent weather patterns, it matters, which again, not to be political, but I'm stating the obvious. People, y'all, like, you have to listen to people. Like, if there's one party that's saying that there's nothing wrong with the weather, there's no violent weather patterns and that is normal. There's another party that's like, you shitting me? I don't think New York's supposed to get hurricanes. You know, like, there's flooding that's happening. The polar ice caps, they're melting. Like, these things are undeniable, but to intentionally deny it, it's literally hurting you as an individual person. But y'all keep voting for these same people over and over and over again. I don't understand. I don't get it. And then proudly announce, well, I'm not voting. Like that mean it ain't gonna be no election. Oh, okay. Well, we shouldn't have one this year. What is that? All of this stuff makes a difference. It all matters. You did well, and I'm having one too. I'm right there with you. That's funny. Credit card yes, credit card debt is compounded interest. They don't mean for you to get out of it. And honestly, I feel like somebody needs to have that a part of their platform to overhaul the way that the credit card industry does this, because we don't have usury laws. I literally had somebody tell me that their credit card they called because it went from 29% to 32%. It's insane. Yes, it's avoidable. So what you saying? I've been living in good neighborhoods this whole time? Because people were in the comments and they was like, "It's always been 2 times the rent." I was like, "No, it has not. I've never heard that in my life. I heard it recently. I'd heard 2.5 times, but I thought it was because they were downgrading to try to accommodate people. I didn't know that that's been just the way it has been. I didn't know that. I can do 500 for refinances. I can do 500 for refinance. But you got to be making your mortgage payments on time. What is this? You got to be making your mortgage payments and stuff on time. My question is, how many of the people gonna get approved? We can lower the limits all day long, but that if you have a 500 credit score, you ain't paid nothing on time lately. And plus, on top of that, with a 500 credit score, you got to put down 10%. I would dare say, if you got a 500 credit score, you don't have 10%. That's why you got a 500 credit score, right? Yeah. um, I swear to you. Okay, that's actually I'm gonna read these comments and I'm gonna circle back to that because that's a good segue to this last topic I'm gonna talk about. Depends on where you live in California. Is like 90% of the income goes to living expenses. I know y'all just barely holding on. Y'all surviving. I know, and I hate that. I'm so sorry. Rent goes up every year around 200. I'd rather buy. Huh? What's predatory lending? What I missed? Oh, you said okay. Nope, it's predatory lending. No, it's not. It's a guideline. FHA allows it. Um, it's gonna be manually underwritten. Probably, I think it's manual. Is a manual underwrite? I think it's a manual underwrite. I ain't never done no 500 credit score loan, but I think is it a manual underwrite or do you have to get it approved eligible? I can't remember. You must have. Yeah, you probably got to get an approved eligible. But I mean, you gotta, like I said, you gotta put down 10%, so that offsets some of the risk to the lender. Um, Again, how you have a 500 credit score, but you got 10%. Like, think about it, a $400,000 house, that's $40,000 that you gotta have. Why you not paying your bills with that $40,000? But predatory is kinda like a gotcha. Predatory is like, we trying to trick you. This ain't a trick. You gonna have a super high interest rate. You gonna have extremely high closing costs. It ain't a trick. Like, hey, if you willing to pay for it. Um, what do we think about USDA loans? USDA loans are wonderful. USDA is a government loan, just like VA and FHA. USDA is 100% financing. There is mortgage insurance, but it's a little bit of mortgage insurance. It's not a lot of mortgage insurance. It is for low to moderate income people in rural areas specifically. So the purchase price and the income limit, as well as the geographic area, is in terms of like the actual address of the property, that all has to line up. Your debt to income ratio, kind of to Neophyte's point about predatory lending, um it, where you are lacking one place, they're gonna find a way to offset it. So if you coming into the house and you don't put no you're not putting any money down, at least for this particular loan, they're like, well, again, back to Neophyte's point earlier, your housing debt to income ratio, your housing ratio can't be more than 29%. They're gonna limit what that is. And then your overall debt ratio, including your car payments, credit cards, student loans, all of that can't be more than 41%. And let's just pretend for the sake of conversation that the income limit in that area is $62,000. So all of those things have to line up perfectly to be able to get a USDA loan. Well, the vice president, she said she's gonna try and do something about that. Millionaires coming from overseas. Yeah, it's decisions, y'all. Asian, India, I feel like I don't belong in the city I grew up in. It's y'all again, and I mean, I'm being just honest. It's decision making. That's all it is. It's not an unfair advantage. It's decision making. Simple decision making. If that is the career where you know that the money is, why not go that direction? Why intentionally go the opposite way and then be mad about life? Like, it's it's decision make. I don't know how else to say it. I really truly don't. I went from being a teacher, I was a teacher, and I was like, oof, ain't nothing to see here. And I hopped my butt over in finance. Now, I ain't no tech guru. That would never happen for me. I don't have the brain for it. Um, but it doesn't have to be tech. It can be finance. You can get into sales, healthcare. All of those are money making fields. I have a TikTok and it's pinned on my page. It's like 2.7 million people saw it. It is thousands of people commenting. And all I asked was, hey, if you make, 150, $200,000 a year, put in the comments and tell people what you do. It is so many different types of jobs that's out there. People just don't know about them. It just takes a little bit of research, a little bit of effort, and a little bit of intentionality. And making a decision to make more money. That's it. Making more money is just making a decision to make more money. And that's the truth. Nobody is stuck. In America, we don't have a caste system. There are adversities, there are things that may come up against you, things. I'm not saying everything is easy, but we don't live in a caste society. If you want something different, go get something different. And culturally, they ain't out here buying up Beamers, Benz, and Bentleys either. And since we're talking about, I guess, immigrants, um, Hispanic people are doing amazing. Anytime I get loan applications from Hispanic people, and I really I want to highlight this in a positive way because it deserves positive acknowledgement. People that have been here in America cry and complain because we used to it, right? Like we're comfortable, right? But there are people that came here 10 years ago, started businesses, they report their taxes properly, save their money, and they buying houses with no problem. That's that on that. And they trying to push you out. Yep, auto insurance is up. Yeah, auto insurance is definitely up. Yeah, and again, the violent weather patterns, like y'all, and it's nothing you could do about it. You can't do anything about that, and that sucks. The money coming from taxes, everyone is being taxed to hell. Okay, but yeah, y'all have to understand too when it comes to what's going on overseas. Sometimes we say things without understanding all of the elements and having the proper context for things. Y'all, it's chess and not checkers. You got to be friends with people that's going to be friends with you. You know what I'm saying? And so if it costs a couple of dollars to keep some good friends around, then whatever, so be it. But you just got to understand, like, it's always more to it than what you or I will ever know. So yeah, it can look like that and it feels like that, but no tea, no shade. People got tens of thousands of dollars dumped in their pocket, dumped in their bank account 4 years ago. Where is the money now? Squandered at the damn mall is where the money is. Plenty of time to save up money for a down payment. Plenty of money available to be able to pay off credit card debt. Plenty. Free money. They even let some people with them PPP scam. They ain't even pursue some of them. And now what? So we can't be pointing fingers. You got to look inwardly for a lot of the stuff that's wrong. We literally right now, because again, y'all told Anton on me. What I asked was why when I was like, why black men hate Kamala Harris so much? And when I was like hate, I meant like they hate her, hate her. And so part of some of the comments, they're like, well, you tell me what she gonna do, what she didn't do nothing for black people. And so my question was, well, what do you want? What are your demands? What do you want? Nobody could answer me. No one has come up with an intelligible answer yet. So my thing is, I guess you want somebody to write you a check for $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so if that happens, then what? Still gonna mess it up. It's just the truth. Like, I don't know what to say. Also, people's DTI is too high, even if the rates are 4% between their bad credit. Yeah, and their high DTI, they can't afford a house. Yeah, yes. But here again, somebody buying these houses. So decisions got to be made. Somebody buying these houses. The only thing I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm trying to learn to teach myself. Yeah, you should. It's definitely education. That's what I'm saying. If you have a 500 credit score, and the lender's gonna do everything possible to let you buy the home, knowing you're financially irresponsible. That's predatory lending. Okay, I'll let you have that. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. I'll concede. Um. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the continuous spending that's added to our $1 trillion deficit, and then inflation, and it's inflation that is the issue. Every time the government spends, things cost more for people. Yep, that's true. What's the best and fastest way to increase your credit score? Pay your bills on time. Um, and that is the American way. Yes, it is. That is the American way. Welcome to America. Ain't it great here? Ain't it great? It's amazing. Um, okay, y'all. So there was a comment. Oh, I'm so behind. Okay. Seems like everyone on the internet makes seven figures. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to not a single one. They ain't on Instagram. I don't know where everybody on Instagram is rich until it's time to buy a house, because they definitely be coming to me talking about how they ain't got no money and bad credit. So I don't know. I don't know. You right about that one. Oh my goodness. And okay, this is a good comment. So yeah, I struggle to move mine 20 points in the last 6 months. People will literally come to me, credit score like super, super low, and then be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get somebody to fix my credit. I'll be back in 90 days. No, you will not. No, you won't. It takes time. It's something that takes time, you know. But yeah, you gotta definitely be careful. You Eco was watching this. Um, War is a game of chess. Come on, somebody. Yeah, it is. You gotta like. I will never know. I will never understand. I don't want to understand. Um, you have a 10,000. Okay, y'all talking to each other. BlackRock is buying up houses too. America never helps a losing side. It's always chess. Come on, somebody. Exactly. Alternative universe, quantitative easing started 2008. All these presidents spend money we don't have. Yep. It's the American way. That's how we roll. I pay my bills on time. They must know something. No, then it must be balances then. That's it. Those are the options. Like seriously, like that's the answer. Is spend use credit responsibly, not maxing out credit cards and stuff like that, and pay everything back on time. That's literally it. That's all. That's the magic to it. If you make 100,000 to 200,000, people are still struggling. Yep. Don't nobody want to believe me though. What's my thoughts on 401k? You should have one. If your company is matching, why not? You should definitely, invest in your future for sure. Hang on. I wanted to go back. Somebody said something that I was like, "Oh, that's a good segue." Whose comment was it? John Brown. It was about the predatory. Was it this one? This is it. So let's talk about realtors. Let's talk about the realtors, okay? And this is my last topic. So over the last year and a half or so, it has become increasingly apparent that an overhaul had to happen in the realtor segment of the real estate industry. And for a long time, well, let me go back. Before them was us, mortgage, right? We had our overhaul back after the Great Recession with the housing crash and everything like that. They was like, "Ooh, child, they doing too much. They making too much money over there. They got all this predatory lending. They putting people in houses they can't afford. Wait a minute, this ain't right." Right? And so they revamped the industry. Well, somewhere between, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 2019, 20, I think 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, during that time frame, some sellers that were selling real estate or had sold real estate, they was like, "You know what? I think these realtors screwed me. I'm gonna file a lawsuit." They were upset. The realtors were, the sellers were upset because it is widely and commonly known, despite what kind of rhetoric people are trying to put out here, that in real estate, 6% was the most common commission in real estate. If you're buying or selling real estate, if you're a realtor, 6% is a commission. If you're selling a house, 6% goes, and then, they split it with the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. And so the people that sold these homes, it was few different brokerages specifically that was named. And these sellers was like, "This is some BS. I hired Sophia. I hired Sophia to be my listing agent. She told me that to sell my house, she was gonna charge me 6%." And I said, "Okay." Never did she ever tell me that she was gonna take her 6% and split it half with Neophyte. Neophyte is a buyer's agent. He's representing, I don't know who I'm saying here. He's representing, I don't know, Care Bears. Okay. Neophyte's job is to negotiate on Care Bears' behalf to try to get me as the seller to lower my purchase price, right? My listing price, right? Trying to negotiate because Neophyte is helping the buyer, right? Neophyte is fighting against me, but I'm paying the money for you to fight against me? That don't make no sense. Why is it that the buyer ain't paying for their own agent? I'm very confused by this. This doesn't make sense. So they sued. They felt like that it had been some price fixing. They felt like they didn't know that they could negotiate and say no. They didn't know. This is what they're saying. They said they didn't know that that's how it worked. And they felt like they had been hoodwinked and bamboozled. And so consequently, in America, whenever a consumer is hurt, America is very serious about making sure that their consumers are not financially harmed. And so their case started to go to court. Most of those brokerages, they went ahead and they settled. They was like, y'all, you got it. You win. They're gonna pay out ridiculous sums of money and damages. And now NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, which is their trade organization, basically came out and was like, all right, so we're gonna redo this. We're gonna do a little bit of overhaul. And what they're doing as an overhaul now is instead of the seller paying out 6% and then the seller's agent splitting that commission with the buyer's agent, they're now going to have to negotiate. And the seller can make the decision whether or not they want to offer money to the buyer's agent. Okay. So if y'all have ever been online and y'all have ever seen or heard a realtor on Instagram and say, "Oh, you get a buyer's agent. I could be your realtor. It's free. It's free. It don't cost you no money. It's free." Right? Well, maybe, but not really. Somebody was always paying. It just wasn't you as the buyer. And so I used this because I was kind of tickled by it. Because a lot of times when we see these type of statements, it's usually not loan officers that's running around talking about, oh, you can get a 500 credit score. I can help you buy a house. Because we know what's up. When you say predatory and financially irresponsible and all of those things, realtors don't give a flying flip. I heard, and I didn't see this with my own eyes, one of my friends who's a loan officer told me that they was in a Facebook group and someone put in the Facebook, they was like, I just talked to a loan officer that said that they could, and it was this list of horrible ideas, horrible, terrible, awful characteristics for somebody to be able to buy a house. And she said that comment had been shared more than 20 times. I think she said 40 times. Realtors don't give a shit about your finances and what you can afford. Okay. All they care about is that somebody said that you could get it and they're going to find you a house to match at any cost and all costs. If numbers got to be moved around, and I'm telling you, because sitting in the seat as a loan officer, I have felt that pressure. You got to make it work. You got to make it work. They want a house. The house is $20,000 more than the pre-approval is. You got it. What can you do? What can we do? How can you make it more? Well, what if we, right? Pushing. So now we're in a new space. It is a new age. It is a new day. This is the day of, did I already talk? I'm talking about it right now. Josh, I'm talking about it at this very, I just started talking about it actually. This is the day, and this is the shift that I think is gonna separate a lot of folks. Again, realtors typically, they don't really care too much about the finances. They don't always want to know, well, how can this person approve? Is it going to be a comfortable payment? They don't care. They just give me the number and I'm gonna go find the house. Well, now the agent's compensation is not going to come from the seller unless the seller says, yes, I'm willing to give you some money. The agent's compensation is going to come from, Hang on, let me see if I can find this thing. Okay. The agent's compensation is going to have to come from a different source. If the realtor, so let me rephrase it. Let me try and simplify it. Before, if I'm going to buy a house and my agent is like, okay, you want 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and you can buy a house for $550, great. They will go into the multiple listing service, which is a site that only realtors can access. It's similar to Zillow, but it has a lot more information. So imagine Zillow, but a lot more information that the public can't see. So it's going to show the different houses, it'll have pictures, all of the things. Well, it used to, prior to August the 17th, it would say, whatever the compensation would be. It would say it's 2% or it's 3% that was being offered to the buyer's agent. And understand that the fundamental idea is if the seller is incentivizing buyers with money to bring, incentivizing buyers agents with money to bring buyers, in theory, their house is supposed to sell faster for a higher price. La di da di da di da. That's that's the way it's been working. But now, instead of going into the multiple listing service and saying, oh, okay, 123 Main Street, I'm gonna get, oh shoot, I'm gonna get 4%, or oh shoot, I'm gonna get 3%. Oh shoot, I'm gonna get 2%, whatever, I don't know. Now it's, oh, okay, 123 Main Street. Let me send a text message over to the realtor at 123 Main Street. Hey, realtor of 123 Main Street, listing agent of 123 Main Street, is a compensation being offered from your seller? Well, what if the listing agent for 123 Main Street says, no, my seller is not offering any buyer's agent compensation? What do you think can happen? What do you think will happen? The agent wants to know how much they're going to be paid for the work that they're doing. And so if the agent doesn't know if they're going to be able to get paid from there, who they going to turn to? Because they're not going to work for free. Now they got to turn to you. So agents are going to now have to have some sort, and I'm not an agent, okay? So I'm not going to be able to be as detailed with this as I would be about something pertaining to lending, but I want you to get the point. Agents are going to have an agreement signed up front on day one when they first meet you. And on that first day, when they first meet you, y'all gonna be like, oh, well, hey, pretend I'm the realtor. Somebody be like, hey, Joy, I want you to go show me a house on 123 Main Street. I'm gonna turn to them and I'm be like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Hey, I'm gonna send you this agreement. This agreement says I'm representing you for today, this week, this month, 90 days, whatever the terms are. And if you like this house, let me tell you my fee, just in the event that the seller's agent, that the seller is not going to pay me for my work. I'm not going to work for free, so it's going to have to come from you. So you decide, okay, well, I'll sign it, whatever. Well, fun fact, the loan officer may not be aware of any of this going on, because guess what? As a loan officer, I'm not factoring that in when I'm pre-approving you. When I'm pre-approving you, all I'm factoring in is your down payment and your closing costs. So now, in the recommended number that I always say, you want to have 3 or 3.5% down for your down payment and like 3% or so for your closing costs. So like 7%. So now I need to factor in what? Another 2%, 2.5%? What does that mean? Agents need to know how much they're going to get paid per house. And all the 50 states are different. This is the way that they structure this. The way they do things in California might be different from the way they do it in Iowa, might be different from the way they do in Ohio, might be different in Florida, from North Carolina. So this is not a one size fits all. And that was the point. They didn't want it to be a one size fits all. Now, the realtor, who do you think they thinking about the most? Who do you think takes priority? Who do you think they're mostly concerned about in this transaction? Why are y'all still talking about war? What is going on? They're more concerned about making sure that they can get paid, right? So they got to sign. You got to sign a brokerage agreement for them to represent you, just to open the door. If you see a house on Zillow, you're like, oh, can you show me that house? They're gonna be like, yeah, sign this. That's how it works. That's what it got to be. That's what it is now. Okay. I heard somebody say that they're gonna start requiring proof of funds up front, realtors. So think about it. If you just met me, if I'm a realtor, right? And Sophia is like, yeah, Joy the realtor, can you take me to go see 123 Main Street? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll take you to go see 123 Main Street. Hey, here is a brokerage agreement. If you like this house and I make an offer, this is how much I charge. What the hell? If I just told you that a loan officer has not factored that in, they're now getting hip to it. The realtors are like, oh shit, hold on. I might need to see proof of funds. Like, I need to double check. I need to backtrack. Hold on. Who is your loan officer? Let me make sure. Hey, does she have the money to pay me? Just in case, because I don't know. Remember, I said it's house by house, case by case. I don't know if 123 Main Street is gonna pay me until I call up the listing agent and say, hey, is your seller offering me a commission? And if not, I'm turning back to Sophia, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I know we just met. Actually, I know we never met. You just called me on the 1-800 number from Zillow. And you was like, hey, can you come open this door for me? I want to see it right quick. Well, yeah, I'll do it, but hey, you got to be prepared. Hey, look, they ain't gonna pay me. So if you like this house, then this is how much I charge. Now, y'all remember that conversation we had earlier about the down payment assistance and all of that? Y'all, this thing is changing the game. It's shaking the table. It's shaking the table. Because this is something that we've never had to consider before. The other thing is, I'm going to show y'all this comment that I follow this girl on the socials. Now, this young lady, she's a loan officer in Atlanta, Georgia. And the other day, she was disgusted. And so she posted this on her page. She was like, I've been seeing a lot of 2.5% contracts with y'all casually slipping in the extra 0.5%. Some of your buyers can't afford it. Okay? So don't make this the new standard or the new norm. So that's interesting. So I'm going through the comments, and some of the comments were basically saying, well, how is that possible? How can they do that if it's already spelled out and written out? Because y'all didn't check first. No one bothered to call the loan officer first to say, hey, if I'm so basically what she's saying is, in a scenario where, let's say, Sean is the realtor. Okay, Sean M, I'm gonna pick on you, is the realtor. And Sean M has decided, oh, my fee is and will always be 3%. I don't care. Ain't nobody gonna tell me that 3%. That's it. That's how I roll. And if the house for 123 Main Street is offering 2.5%, okay, cool. We writing up the offer, boom, boom, boom. And then, now all of a sudden here, contract, we going through everything. We getting the numbers getting sent to the title company. What the hell? I don't know if the buyer has an extra $1,500. What is this extra 0.5%? What the hell? What is this? That's what she's saying when she like, they just casually throwing it in there. Like, what she say? Like they ordering some lemon pepper, like they ordering ranch for lemon pepper wings. What is this? That ain't right. Somebody is going to pay these realtors. So you have to have the money to do it. Some realtors are saying, well, if they're not offering me no money, I'm not going to show my client that house. Well, now you got to present that whole idea to the client to say, hey, you got to give them an option. You can't just not show houses. That's steering. That don't seem right. It don't seem right to me, but it might seem right to y'all. I remember when they first started talking about this, the realtors was like, oh, I ain't gonna do. I ain't doing. Yeah, okay. Okay. What you want to do, somebody else will. So now we have to kind of flip things around a little bit. I'm hearing that there's some agents that's double dipping. So hey, Sean, I charge 2.5%. Oh, and also they already gonna give me 2.5%. So now, boom, look at me. I'm getting paid 5%. I'm gonna take her 2.5%, and I'm gonna take the 2.5% that the seller gonna give me. Now, I haven't seen that with my own eyes. I'm just telling you some of the things that I've been seeing and hearing. At the end of the day, there are some companies where the brokerages, they're like, this is how much we charge. Now, if you don't get it from the buyer, I'm still going to get it from you. So if I work for ABC Realty and Sean is one of my agents, Sean can go out here and twirly whirly around and take all the Instagram pictures that she wants to. But when that house gets sold, when that thing closed, I'm taking some of her commission. I'm taking some of that money. Why? Because it's my company. She's acting as an agent on behalf of me at what I call it, ABC Realty or whatever I said. Well, what if she didn't get the full amount? Well, that's too bad. Because the brokerage, they like, no, this is how much I'm gonna get. I don't care where you get it from. So that could present a situation where now the people that are in those lower income tiers are really not getting paid attention to. Because why, y'all, let's be serious. One or two things gonna happen. If you out here talking to people about down payment assistance, in theory, you're talking to people that don't have no money. As a agent, where I know that I might have to get my compensation from you, why would I go out and talk to people with no money? That doesn't make sense. Or what if, let's just pretend that I encounter somebody that has a little bit of money. Let's say they have $10,000. And I know, okay, well, I'm gonna need 5,000. Don't you think that the mindset would probably be to the agent, okay, well, of that $10,000, $5,000 of that is mine. So now they coming to me and they like, hey, she only got $5,000. Can you help her? What? There's a lot of things. This is new. This is new to us on the lending side. It's new to the agents. Things that have to be worked out. But it is yet another hurdle, yet another learning curve, yet another cost that is getting passed to the buyer. Some realtors are like, well, the mortgage companies, they're going to have to finance it. No, we don't. We don't finance closing costs. And we don't employ realtors because guess what that would be doing? Now you work for us. Like, that's not how that works. We don't finance closing costs and purchase transactions. And we're certainly not making an exception right now. If that changes, then I'll be back and we can have that conversation. But right now, you got to pay it. If you hire a realtor, if you decide that there's a realtor that's out there and you like, oh, I like her, I like him. When they turn to you and they like 3% is what I charge, you need to be fully prepared to pay that full fee up front. You can't wish it away later on down the line. What you gonna do? Somebody gonna pay it. And personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that I think it actually makes complete sense. There is no other service that's out here that you can get without paying for it. There's nothing that's out here where somebody else pays for you to get a service. You pay your your beautician, your hairstylist. You pay your doctor. You pay your attorney when you need one. You pay everybody else, don't you? So what's so wrong with paying for the realtor? The second that somebody told me about this lawsuit, I said, yeah, it makes perfect sense. I knew immediately. And the realtors was like, oh, this is dumb. This ain't going nowhere. They dismissed it like it was no big deal. It made complete sense to me. You got to have money to buy a house. It's becoming more and more and more and more and more apparent. You got to have money to buy a house. Nobody's out here playing with people. Like, and the realtor girlies that have been out here playing, they're not going to be playing no more. I love first-time home buyers. I love helping people with down payment assistance. Shut the fuck up. You love until it don't pay you no more. It ain't going to pay you. That's not even rational. To be like, hey, save up enough money for you to be able to pay the realtor, but the down payment assistance is gonna pay for the house. That don't even make sense. That's not even rational thinking. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. What do y'all think about that? I think I got my points out. Oh, one more thing. That's what I was gonna say. So I've been seeing a couple of things. So I'm thinking my personal opinion is that I think that people are probably gonna do flat rates. Like realtors are just gonna be like, all right, I charge $2,000 or I charge $3,000, and that's just gonna be it rather than a percentage. Because if it's 3% on a $300,000 purchase price, that's 90. That's 90. Lord God, that's $9,000. So it's probably a lot easier just to be like, okay, well, flat fee 5,000 or whatever. I don't know. That's one way to do it. Um, some realtors I know for a fact they have a retainer. They're starting to do that. So y'all, it's a new day. You're gonna have to pay a professional to be a professional. You're gonna have to pay professionals to get the professional help that you want. You're not gonna get the shop around and let me rephrase. I ain't mean to say that. You're not gonna get the fake shop around like you buying something to get all the information and then go to your cousin that got licensed 8 days ago. No, no, no. Because because what the realtors have been doing, just to give you some contrast so you understand, what the realtors have been doing, some of them, they'll be like, oh, well, I just want to, get to know this person. I want them to get to know me. I'll show 1 or 2 houses before I bring up, having to make them sign an agreement, to work with me. Because in those brokerage agreements, it's usually something that says, hey, if I show you a house and then you buy that house within however many days, like say 90 days, then I get the commission on it. Like even if we break up, then I'm the one that showed you the house, I get the commission on it. All right. So now they can't even show you the first house to try to get to know you without having something in place. There has to be a written agreement. So everybody has a meeting of the minds about how much it's going to potentially cost them. And I say potentially because again, if Sean is like, no, I'm 3%. I've charged 3%. This is how much my value is. 3%, 3%. Okay, cool. And if I sign up for 3% and I like a house that's $400,000, but I only budgeted 3% for $300,000. Uh-oh. I got a little bit of a deficit here, don't I? These things, is Sean going to renegotiate and be like, okay, well, I'll drop it down to 2.5% or whatever it is? Is that what's going to happen? They deserve to be paid. Period. I mean, there's no room for negotiating if they should or shouldn't be getting paid or however much they get paid. It doesn't matter. So now, shop around. So now, the same way that the realtor girlies will say, hey, Joy, I want you to talk to so-and-so and such and such. And then also send that same person to 2 other people at the same time. You got me up here spinning my wheels for absolutely nothing. Because they going to new construction or whatever. Bet. Let me go ahead and return this favor. So now, you as the buyer, you need to shop around. You as the buyer need to interview your realtors. No, it's not, hey, open the door. Okay, let's talk about it. What's your compensation? What's your fee? How much do you charge? What all do you include with these services? Because you have to remember the difference between me as a loan officer. I work for a company. I just do what they tell me to. I don't have a business model. My business model is their business model. But realtors, it's their own business. So you got to be like, okay, so what do you offer? What's your business model? What do you include? What do you do? What don't you do? And you got to compare. Okay, Realtor A told me that they charge 3%. I can't afford it. Let me go see who else. All right, Realtor B said they got a flat rate. They only charge $1,500. Ooh, winner, winner, chicken dinner. But what's the trade-off? What are you losing in the process? Because you're losing something. If you think Realtor B is going to do the same stuff as Realtor A, you done lost your ever-loving mind. Because you get what you pay for, right? So again, I said this on TikTok earlier today. This is a business transaction. No one is interested in you when you have no money. Nobody. No one is interested in you when you have no money. And I've shared on a TikTok earlier today a snippet of a man literally saying that. He was like, what's wrong with y'all? I don't want broke buyers. I have the thing that you want. You want to buy my house. What I look like giving you money to buy my house? I can just find somebody else to buy my house. Oh, oh. I believe that the narrative and the language is going, and the expectations are going to change. And it's going to go to what I have been saying this entire time that don't nobody want to hear. Because every interested party in the transaction is worried about money except the buyer. The buyer is the only one that has emotions attached. Oh, I love this house so much. You got money? How much money you got? Okay, you can't have the house then. Next. What's up? It's math, y'all. But it gets harder. It just got harder at the end of the day. It just got harder. What y'all talking about? Let me see. Oh, y'all don't care about this. Y'all ain't said nothing. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. Y'all don't care about this compensation. Y'all ain't worried about it. Didn't somebody come in the comments and ask me, was I talking about it? Hang on. Okay, thank you, Greg. Okay. I'm talking about military aid. Okay, the agent won't be showing their house. Or they have to get it from the buyer. Yeah, they're gonna have to. That's it. The agent is going to be very serious about protecting themselves first. And that's just human instinct. And it's not wrong. It's survival. It is survival. I have to protect myself before I protect you, right? So yeah, you gotta have what Rihanna say, better have my money, right? They're not going to be checking for people that don't have money. I don't know how else to say it. Like, that is the most simplest, plainest way I can say it. And I can say it over and over, and I can shout it from the rooftops and the mountains, and I will inevitably still have somebody reach out to me and be like, oh yeah, I'll be watching you all the time. You say you can't buy a house with no money. I want to buy a house. Okay, great. How much money do you have? Oh, I don't have no money. What? Do what you want to talk about? What do I need to do to buy a house? Get some money. Because, baby, that's what them realtors is going to do. Okay. That's exactly what them realtors are going to do. Everybody in this transaction is looking for money from you and nobody else. Everybody. Oh, can you pay my closing costs? No. The seller is like, no. I'ma just sell the house to somebody else that can pay the closing costs. Next. Oh, can you pay my buyer's agent? No. I'ma just sell the house to somebody who can pay their buyer's agent. Okay. Remember, earlier we talked about there's more buyers in the market than houses that's available to be sold. So they don't next. Get out the line. It'll be somebody behind you, especially as interest rates come down. The argument that realtors are trying to make is, well, nobody's gonna no what is, the argument they're trying to make is nobody's gonna want to buy your house if you're not offering something to the buyer's agent. No, y'all don't want to show the house. That's the key. That's the difference. The buyer can still buy the house. The house still $400,000. The house is still $400,000. Well, ain't nobody gonna show the house. Okay, y'all keep trying that steering stuff. You're gonna end up in trouble. I'm not showing that house because okay, great. I just don't think that that's gonna fare well um when we start looking back at history. Um, let's see. I feel like the best thing that you can do is have 20% down and have an extra $15,000 for charges in the sale. Have a 775 better credit score. I feel like that's the best thing that you can do. I mean, I don't know about 20% down. That's a bit extreme, but you definitely want to have some money. 20% is that's a little extreme. 20% isn't necessary. The American dream will put you in debt for half your life. Well, you work in half your life. So, yes, while you're correct, you also have to realize that there's time and place. Time and place. The time to buy a house, first of all, let's keep it a buck, okay? The things that people don't want to say, the elephant in the room is you're not supposed to really be buying a house with just one income. That's the elephant in the room. When people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'll never be able to buy a house making $51,000." You're right, because you're supposed to have somebody else in the house that made $51,000. Now you got enough money. Now you can do it. But because that ain't everybody's story, it does become increasingly difficult, especially particularly in certain cultures. Earlier that we were talking about, there was a culture that the only ones you said that can buy houses in California. Well, I mean, that's a bit of an extreme to say they're the only ones. They also have a culture of being married. The marriage rate is very high. Versus some other cultures, the marriage rate is extremely low. Side note, did y'all see that interview that Cam Newton did with that doctor? Baby, the way she gathered him, she chewed him up and spit him out with a straight face. It was no sister girl, neck rolling, no nothing. She gathered him. She was like, you're low functioning. And the women that you deal with, they're low functioning too. Oh, okay. But yeah, y'all, that's one of the big things, and we have to acknowledge that as part of the reason why there's a bit of a struggle, right? So, but when you're young, in your 20s and your 30s, you're supposed to buy the house, and you have 30 years in theory to pay off the house, and then when you get to retirement, you have the house, and you have no more debt. That's why when you're supposed to ride off into the sunset, you don't need to be making, $8,000 and $10,000 a month. You need $4,000 a year for your taxes, $5,000 a year for your taxes. You know what I'm saying? Little piece of Social Security, get you a couple of little groceries. That's it. I asked the question the other maybe about a couple months ago. I was like, "What's your plan?" Because people are like, "I don't want to buy a house. Buying a house is for suckers." What's your plan? You gonna be 79 years old making $2,000 a month in rent? Like how that's supposed to work? You can't work. So you call it illusion all day long, but that's what it is. That's the plan. And that has worked. It's worked for many, many, many people. It's worked so well. These baby boomers, they not dying fast enough for you to buy their house. And they not moving because they don't have a mortgage. Your down payment is absolutely it's instant equity. Yeah. It is instant equity. And some people that are like, "Oh, I want to refinance." You can't refinance necessarily if you don't have any equity in your home. Unless you plan on writing a check for closing costs again when you refinance. Now, I'm not talking about the streamlines, I'm talking about conventional loans. So, that's something to think about. People are out here, they're gonna try and play realtor for themselves, and that's gonna be another issue. Yeah, because they don't realize that there's contract law that's involved. When they put deadlines and things like, do y'all understand what a contract is? It's a legally binding agreement between all of the parties that are involved. It ain't patty cake. So, yeah, those things, they have to be executed in a particular manner. But yeah, I mean, that does present a scenario where they may try and, play realtor. But at the same time, I don't want to say they're gonna play realtor. I would say I think they're just shop around until they can find a realtor that they can afford. Really. That's what they don't have to do. That's true. I don't disagree with that. Boy, that Cam, boy, that was amazing. Oh man, that lady went off on him. Oh, she went off on him. All right. I would argue for California, you're better off saving and investing for 10 years to buy the house cash. I don't know. Because the prices are gonna go up probably faster than the rate that you can save. But I guess with the investing, maybe I don't know. I don't know. There's not a hard solution to any of it. It's presenting challenges. Real estate is something that is constantly changing. These are the updates that have happened in, just like I said, the last month. And there'll continue to be things that change over the next 6 months, next year, next 2 years, which is why I always say we can't predict what's going to happen. We have no earthly idea. Earlier, somebody asked me if it was going to be a housing crash. Maybe one day, not today. But is it a 0% chance that that could never happen again? No, it's not. It's possible. History repeats itself. So I don't know. But as of right now, y'all, get ready so you don't have to stay ready. That's my advice. Okay. You want to get ready so you don't have to stay ready. Um, Rates are coming down. If you have a government loan, a FHA, VA, it may be a good time. to do a streamline, to get a lower payment, lower interest rate, that's something that honestly you are allowed to do because that's just the way that they write the rules. So it doesn't require anything of you. Particularly, like I said, if you bought in October of 2023 specifically, because that was the highest interest rates that we had. Down payment assistance is available. It doesn't have to just be the Kamala one that she's talking about. I don't want to keep calling her Kamala like that's my home girl, but it doesn't have to just be something that's proposed in a presidential election. There's down payment programs that are already active and are already out there. But again, not to make you fearful or not to make you intimidated, but back in 2020, sellers were not picking the people that had down payment assistance. Sellers were not picking the people that was asking for closing cost money. So again, it's only one right way. I ain't gonna say right way, it's probably a little bit too strong. The way to buy a house is to have money. There are some deviations from that, but the way is still the way. It's always the way, and it's always going to be the way. You have to have money. And I can't say that strongly enough. And waiting for something to happen, waiting for some miracle on 34th Street. You can wait, but you're going to be waiting. Decisions have to be made, choices have to be made, changes have to be made. If you don't earn enough money to buy a house in today's housing market and you want to buy a house, change your income. Nobody is limiting you to anything. And that's the honest truth. You hold all of the power. You hold all of the power. You control it. If you decide to take your power back and make some changes, you can have your house in a year. I promise. But like I said, nobody's coming to save anyone. But anyway, y'all, we've been on for 2.5 hours. It is now almost 11 o'clock. My son has school in the morning, day 2. He woke up late. Y'all, my son, my little baby, he ain't no little baby. He just turned 16. He turned 16 on Saturday. My little baby had on, he tried on his first day of school outfit about 4 different times yesterday. I caught him, he had his book bag on, his what's it called? Spray ground book bag. He had on his spray ground book bag in the house. Shoes on, jeans on, shirt on. He dressed, walking around, and overslept this morning. I kept saying, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. He didn't want to listen to me. I didn't know what I was talking about. Go to bed, go to bed, go to bed. What's wrong with that statement? What's wrong? Hold on, wait. Oh, I was about to go, but let's start. What you trying to? So, what's wrong with this statement? I want to know what's wrong with this statement. Life is full of choices. Oh, okay. I'm like, what do you? I didn't say nothing wrong. People shouldn't be offended by that. Like, I'm literally saying, like, there's opportunities to do other things. I did it. I'm not special. There's nothing about me that's special. But I think that sometimes people kind of get in a bubble. You know what I'm saying? If you make $51,000 and all your friends make 51, no, let me do it like this. If you make $51,000 and all your friends make $42,000, you think you at the top of the damn mountain, right? It's like, oh, I'm doing fine. Okay. You could be. You could be, for that particular phase in life and for what you had set out to do during that era, right? But if your new era is I want to buy a house, and that new era is I want to buy a house, and it's going to require me to save tens of thousands of dollars, we got to get some new friends. We got to make some choices. We got to enroll in some classes. We got to network. We got to, you know what I mean? It's nothing that's limiting. Again, going back to the comment about, the Asians, it is widely known. It's not. I guess it is a stereotype because you're not supposed to say it, but it's not. I'm not saying anything negative. It is widely known that there are certain industries that's dominated by certain people, right? There's some people they just ain't gonna work at the McDonald's. It's just not gonna happen. So no, we can network is the key. Exactly. That's it. That's all it is. It is extremely doable, but you gotta want to do it. You gotta sometimes you gotta have a come to Jesus moment with yourself. And you gotta be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you get fed up. Black people are some of the most innovative people in the world, right? We got some get shit doneness about ourselves. But for whatever reason, we're not always introduced to opportunities. We're not always aware that there are certain opportunities that exist that are out there. And there are. You just have to choose it. That's all it is. Healthcare, boom, that's it. I'm telling like it's the conversation got to be out there. Like the shit is unacceptable at this point. I don't know how else to say it. We are dead last, and that's unacceptable. There should be no reason why somebody can come in and have a higher home ownership rate than people that's been here the whole time. But then they get talked down about because they've taken advantage of the opportunities that they were presented, but we squander the advantages that we have been presented. Like I see it every single day, but whatever. But yeah, it can be done. It can definitely be done. It's completely possible. Anything is possible. And it's not if you pray about it, it's possible if you research and you have some strategy and you apply the strategy and you have a goal. You got to have the goal. Y'all be saying, "I want to buy a house." And your plan is that money is going to fall out the sky. That's not a plan. The math it's not a plan. And I run into these conversations all the time. And I understand, everybody's not great with math and everybody's not great with planning, but you got to be good with common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made a statement on TikTok where I said something to the effect of the math would never work for somebody to make $50,000 want to buy a $400,000 house. And somebody, like, I had a couple of people that commented, it was like, that's stupid. Why would somebody want to do that? Shh, you don't be on these phone calls. the payments. Sometimes people don't know what the payments are. So again, it's awareness. Because I remember when I didn't know people personally that made $200,000, but then I saw people that made $200,000. And I was like, oh, oh, hang on. What? It's a thing. I worked at a warehouse years ago. I asked a 24-year-old about a 401k, knew nothing. Parents never taught him. I asked a 19-year-old the same question. He knew what it was and how it worked. Yeah, exposure. It is like it's exposure. It really is. It is. And again, culturally, some people, some cultures prioritize education and they're very serious about it. Others don't. It's kind of a take it or leave it thing. I had a post on TikTok. I know y'all like, bitch, stop talking about fucking TikTok. But I had a post on TikTok where I was talking about these kids and they elaborate dorm rooms. And I'm like, this is cute, but I'm starting to wonder if this is like why kids getting out here in the world and they can't do nothing for themselves. And so, of course, all the women, I ain't gonna have my child. Oh no, I know what I made a comment. I was like, college is about, transitioning into adulthood. It's about the struggle. You gotta learn how to do stuff. And child, the word struggle, it triggered the people. My child, my baby ain't gonna struggle. My baby ain't gonna struggle. Okay, girl. All right, girl. Struggle does not necessarily mean finances. It means that you're able to overcome challenges. And so somebody responded saying how, they kids, they work hard and these kids, they deserve it because they in college. I'm like, you think these kids in college and they can't read, right? Oh, their comment was like, you need to be worried about these people, the kids that's in K through 12 and they can't read and write. Boo, these kids in college can't read and write. Honor roll students, that ain't no real honor roll. The definition of everything has changed. And I now see, I was in the classroom in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. I was in a classroom with children. Those children are adults now. I didn't see, I think I was too young to be able to forecast the outcome of some of the stuff that I saw. But now I see, and I'm like, oh, we in trouble. Because the kids can't do nothing. So you talking about like the 401k and all of that? It's bad. It's really bad, y'all. I mean, these kids are getting college diplomas and they shouldn't be. These kids are getting to, like, I just thought the comment was so funny because she just knew, she told me. I was like, girl, these kids can't do nothing. They cannot function. They cannot. They are going to college, and instead of learning what they're supposed to learn in English class, being able to get to the English class to read a historic, robust text that is college literature, they're having to be retaught ninth grade reading and writing skills. You don't gotta believe me. You can ask a college professor. They are flabbergasted. It gets worse every single year. But again, back to my point, there is a culture where people, they prioritize education over everything. So again, you can't be mad at the outcome of somebody else taking advantage of a system that was meant for immigrants, y'all. The country was founded on it. You can't hate on people because of that. And I'm starting to notice, and it makes me really sad to see Black people talk down on brown people the way that they are. It's not cool. Like, you ain't really got to that point. Like, it's not right. But again, everything is a choice. Like, I'm kind of actually talking to myself when I'm saying this, because I've had a hard couple of years. Everything is a choice. I choose to work hard or to not work hard. I'm okay with being broke. Like, I ain't scared to be broke. I've been broke before, but it still doesn't change the fact that, most things are choices. You got a first grader that can't read in public school. Yeah. That's the thing. That's normal. That's not abnormal. And that's the thing. Like, if you haven't worked in a school, you don't know. But I'm telling y'all, I worked in a school where they had an ABC honor roll. My baby on an honor roll. Oh, okay. It don't mean nothing. What? I know what goes on back there. It means nothing. These kids are taking AP courses they shouldn't be. Y'all, I'm telling y'all got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. When you see stuff, I'm telling you, everything is smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. But when it comes to making money now, we'll say these young kids, they be hustling. I ain't gonna hold you. They hustle. They don't play about making money. They don't play about making money. They hustle. But intellect, and you can see it in comments. And that's why I said it's a dead giveaway. Just because you graduate high school, once you're behind forever. Most people don't read a single book cover to cover after they graduate for the rest of their life. So again, shout out to the people that made $50,000, because I've been using that as my number today for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but the information is out there. It's not like anybody's hiding it. It's available on the internet that's on your phone. Yeah, it's just, but yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope everybody has registered to vote. We have to make sure that we're voting this election, as in all elections, midterm elections. Make sure you're voting for your city council, your county commission. Make sure, if somebody was talking about how bad insurance is, there is a secretary of insurance, I believe that's what it's called, for every state. I can't remember if that's the exact title, but every state has somebody, is an insurance commissioner, I think, or something like that. They the ones that's like, yeah, you can come in here, you can raise the rates. Y'all gotta talk to these people. You gotta call them. Everything that touches your money is something that you voting for or against. All of it. So make sure that you're registered to vote. Check your voter registration. last night I heard Donna Brazile speaking, and she said that some states will purge you from the registry if you haven't voted like in the last election, last two elections. She was saying like every state is a little bit different. So you need to just double check and make sure that your name is on the roll and you are present and accounted for. Voting is important. If you're trying to buy a house, voting is important. Okay. Jerome Powell got his job because a president put him in that job role. It was an appointment. So voting is important. We need the House and the Senate. A president cannot do anything by themselves. Voting is important. You cannot get an agenda through if nobody is willing to vote for it in the House. Voting is important. Well, why they got all that money going overseas? Guess who holds all of the purse strings? The Senate. Voting is important. Kamala giving all that money away. That lady ain't got no money to give to nobody. What you mean? Voting is important. Please vote. All right, I'm going to bed. I'll try and come on next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday. Y'all give me some topics to talk about, please. I would appreciate it because I don't know what to talk about. So please give me some topics, some questions that you would like for me to research. And I'm happy to come back. My link will be down below after I turn this off. I'll put all of that. So if you would like to apply and you're ready to buy, you gotta have some money. And I'm happy to help you. All right. So y'all do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. And I'll talk to y'all later.